Hey, this is John Young with the Disc Jockey News. We are looking at the Electro Voice ELX200 today. This is the 15P. We've been looking at a lot of the ELX200 speakers recently because they finally came in and we were able to use these in the field a little bit, and we're really excited because they have got some really awesome speakers here that have some functionality we haven't seen before in the Electro Voice line. So we're going to talk more about that, but today we're specifically looking at the 15P. Now this is a plastic box, which means that it's going to be lighter weight than the EKX and the ETX. With that being said, you're not sacrificing a ton of sound for that lighter weight. It's going to come in at about 45 to 47 pounds, so it's still a hefty box to get up on a speaker stand, but it isn't a 60 or 70 pound box, just to keep that in mind. You're not sacrificing a ton of sound, but you're losing probably 8 to 10 to 12 pounds of weight, depending upon what other cadence you're comparing it to, and it makes it a lot easier to handle. Let's turn it around here and take a look at the handle. We have 3 different handles. We've got one on the side, and then we have 2 and 3 right here, one on the bottom, one at the top. The 3 handles give you some nice handholds to grab and be able to get it up on the speaker stands. There isn't one on the other side that's back towards me because you have 3. It's not that heavy. They put them in the right spot so a person can pick them up and do what you need to do and not have the waste of extra weight from an additional handle, because those things are reinforced and they do have extra weight. Let's take a look at the back side here. Now there's some functionality that's built into the speakers that is a little bit different with the ELX200 series. Specifically, there's an app. And that app is actually on that device that's recording this video. But that app, what it will do is it allow me to dial in, to connect to my speakers, whatever speakers, whether it's if I'm using 2, 4, 8, whatever, it'll allow me to connect to the ones I want and control them from the app. I can get feedback from the speakers on the app, so I can see when I'm really pushing them hard and I'm getting to the point where the limiting is starting to be activated. I can see that on the app, and then I can adjust it from the app, which is fabulous. I don't have to go and run over to the speaker and turn the little gains down. I can do it from the app. I'm really getting excited and loving that app because it really works well. We used it at a couple of high school dances, and we just decided to see if we could take the bass out with the app and go, and it's like, oh, it's all gone, and it's all back. Probably not a really good thing to do during a dance, but hey, you got to try these things at a live application, and we did. Beyond the app, then we get into some of the typical Electro Voice controls in their DSP system. Very similar to what we have on the ELX and such, where we have the ability to go and set it for a tripod, if we're on a tripod, or we're going to be up against a wall or a monitor, wherever we're going to put it. We can choose the crossover point. We can dial in the subwoofers that are with it, or we can choose a point. We can set it to music or different settings with that, so we can select some of the EQs. We can actually manually EQ it also with the high, mid, and lows. We also have an RCA input. What's really cool about the RCA input, this is on the ELX200 series, it's on EKX and such, is that this is basically protection. If I lose my controller at a show, I can go with an RCA, that 1/8 inch RCA, I can plug in here. Then I can go out of this speaker, I can jump out, and that will give us that signal to the first sub, out of that sub to the second sub, out of that sub to the other top, and I have the full sound, and it'll sound really quite good, and it's all done with an RCA cable as opposed to my mixer. Then if I really needed to, I could probably figure out a way to get a microphone in here and have a saved show, compared to a situation where I would lose my show because my controller died. I love that feature. That's probably my only really disappointment with the ETX, is that it doesn't have that feature. Well, now this new app is really cool too. But the ETX is still our top one. We've got our gains and such. We can adjust it and set things. It's just really, if you're used to the Electro Voice stuff, this is the same. If you're new to it, you just take a few minutes and kind of read and walk through, and it's really quite simple once you kind of go through and read what's there. If you're just looking at it and wanting to freak out, yeah, you can do that too. But it's really quite user-friendly, and it's very simple to do. You just have to get in there and just kind of look a little bit. And if you really mess it up, there's always go down to the bottom and click reset, and everything's back to the factory settings. So this is just a quick look at the Electro Voice ELX200 15P speaker. It's a 15-inch two-way for a lot of mobile DJs out there. 2 of these would be probably the speakers you would need for most of your events. Some would need to add a subwoofer. You could add 2 18-inch subwoofers under this, because they have 2 subwoofers in the ELX200 line. They have a 12-inch and they have an 18-inch. With this cabinet, I really wouldn't even recommend the 12-inch one, just because you're going from a 15-inch here. The 18 would be the natural step. 2 of these alone would easily do most of your 100-person or less weddings or 100-person or less events, unless you were wanting to have some heavy bass dance music. You add subwoofers to it, they can easily do 200 students at a dance, not without a problem. I would highly recommend that for a 200-person or 200-student dance. If you need to have some really heavy bass beyond that, you're in a big area or you've got more kids, then you may have to add an additional sub. So instead of having 2 tops, 2 subs, you might have to have 2 tops and 4 subs. We did that configuration and it sounded absolutely fabulous. That particular configuration would easily go into the 500 students plus range. It sounded great. I was really pleased at how nice that system sounded with 6 speakers. But not everybody can move 6 speakers, and that's something you guys have to decide what works the best for you. We'll put links in the description down below so you can check this out, but this is the ELX200 15P from Electro Voice.